Hey guys, welcome back to the news. Today is February 13th, 2019. First of all, this show is, as always, sponsored by camerastore.com. And I wanted to mention, I made a video about the Japan Camera Hunter shooting, and then I made one in the darkroom. And the prints came out beautiful, and I actually printed a few more. So there's 3 different frames, 5 prints of each. And I'm selling them on my store, nicosphotonews.com/darkroom-prints. They're 8x10 fiber-based paper from Milford, Warmtoned, washed, archival, washed, flattened, hot pressed, flattened, and whatnot. They're shipped for 30 euros flat. So if you feel like helping the channel, keeping the lights on, you can purchase one of those prints. It'll help a lot. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and I actually really like the prints. I've never been a street photography guy, but those shots in that film rendered beautifully, and I can't wait to print the next set for the next show, which will be 4x5 films. So if you're curious about that, that will be coming probably by the end of this week, beginning of next week. Then we have Photoklassik magazine, which is finally going into number 2 of the international version into print. They actually just send it to the printers. I have a full news article there. Plus, I have a written article about surf, skate, and all that, sports and film photography. It's written, and the pictures in the article are mine too, so I'm very proud. It's the first time I actually have written and pictures on a physical media. So I hope for those guys that want to have something like that, you can also get that there. When it comes out, I'll leave a link to that below so you can purchase that number specifically. Then we have a film photo award, and I saw this at Japan Camera Hunter's website, and he even says it, that he never usually says about awards and whatnot, these things, because they always have some sort of weird guidelines that you lose your images or you give them for free and whatnot. But this one's organized with collaboration with Kodak, and yes, there's an entry fee. I think it's like $35 for non-students, so people like me, $25 for students, and they give you a ton of film in exchange. So if you want to participate, you can follow the link below. After the bad news from Tatenol, which I still have nothing new, so I can't really help you guys, we have news from Cinestill that's managed to make their chemistry basically liquid less. So it's powder chemistry now. C41 and the DF96 comes in powder, which you save a little bit of money in the chemistry, but you save supposedly 75% on the shipping. So it's much easier to fly the chemistry. A lot of the chemistry is not able to fly when it's liquid form, but it can in the powder. So for those that are doing home developing in C41 and with a monobath from Cinestill, that is good news. From the instant world, we have updates from One Instant, and Doc mentions the fact that not only it's been a good thing that he managed to get all the funds, he's had some meetings with the people from 20x24 Studio in the US about the pods and how to ship them over and whatnot. Remember that the first production of the One Instant is going to be done with legacy products from Polaroid, so P7 developer and the 20x24 inch paper as the receiver. And not only that, but he's made a specific website called supersense.com/oneinstant where you can read all the information about the project and whatnot. So things are going forward in the One Instant world. I can't wait to get my first One Instant shots to try them out on my land cameras and the 4x5s. From Adox, we have news on the Poliwarmtone project. Once again, it looks like it's starting to get very exciting. Nico from Adox posted the fact of how many tests they've been doing. He did the 2009-2019 10-year kind of challenge, and he opened what looks like storage at their factory, and there's boxes and boxes and boxes of test strips with the negative, little, the gray scales and whatnot, that each one is a different coating, emulsion, chemistry, reaction, and whatnot. And that involves the technician, lab people, and all of that. And each box has hundreds of those. And he was referring to those people that say like, oh, hey, can you tweak the paper to be better for my film or my development? And he says that that is basically why it can't be done, because any minimal change requires so much manpower and, you know, energy to change. So yeah, if you guys are excited as I am from the Poliwarmtone project from Adox, you might want to check it out. It's just a few pictures and that little text. From Leica, we have an update on special edition lenses, and I know Leica is, you know, known for nowadays special edition everything, but these lenses actually, at least one of them really calls my attention, and it's the 50 Apo Summicron is not the one that calls my attention. It's like black brass, something like that, black paint. Then they have another one, which right now I can't remember. And then they have the Summicron 28mm 5.6 in black with red accents. And for those who don't follow me on Instagram, I managed to test out an old vintage Summicron that was looking amazingly on one of my Leica cameras for like a week. And I have to say, I was so impressed. I never expected a 28mm 5.6 lens to be the kind of thing I was excited about. But the footprint is so small. It's like half of a roll of like 35. It renders amazingly. I shot it at f16 or f22 because I was in Sunny 16 and my film was 1600 ISO. And I made prints of those, which are amazing. And yeah, I wish I could get that 28 Summicron Black Edition, but sadly I can't. There's 500 coming out, just in case you want. So you're one of those that can't afford and like buying a Leica Special Edition. This is the time to do it. I saw this from the Leica Miami store, which I once interviewed. And you can Google Leica Miami interview, and you can find my little interview with them. And they're super nice, so I'm happy to, you know, say that you're more than welcome there. And I always feel welcome there. Then we have the New55, which is the famous format. And Sam has basically said that thanks to Bob Crowley, which is the, you know, starter of New55, they're going to open a new entity called New55 2. No, not actually 2 as a number, as the same sort of name. It's not going to be exactly the same name. But yeah, it's going to hold the New55 name, which already has a lot of strength in the market. And so famous format, I don't know if it'll disappear, but that was the spin-off that came out of New55. Now I don't know how things are going to be. So there's going to be 2 team members, Sam Heiser and Charles. We're going to be starting off the new entity, and they made all the improvements to the pods and all that, which I already told you guys. But yeah, things are going forward for New55 famous format. Then we also have an update from Chroma Camera. Steve has been working very hard on making these cameras on his free time. Of course, he's one of those like me that have a real job and then they have their passion, which is photography. And he's also been doing that dry plate prototype in some free time he can get out of the free time. And things are going forward slower than he wanted to, as happens many times on these Kickstarters. But things, you know, are, you know, keep on going. So it's good to hear. Then we have Stearman Press, where they're 8x10 tray with a lid, which I mentioned already, but they're at 25% of what they've wanted to fund. So I'm going to plug it here again. If you're an 8x10 shooter, you don't have a way to develop at home, and you want a system, this looks like a fairly affordable and easy system. It's basically a tray with a lid for $123. And Stearman Press made the SP445 for 4x5, and it's super popular, so I'm sure their product will be good. Then we have from Bounet, he's been making these film devices and accessories for large format shooters mostly. He made the 4x5 reel, which works in Patterson tanks. He made the 5x7, which I mentioned is finally on his website. And now he has like a drying rack, which is not only a drying rack, which I thought was very interesting. It sort of resembles like, you know, the plate drying rack, but you can use it only to dry film, which I never dry my film cut into strips of 6, which I just hang the whole roll. But you can do sheet film like 4x5s or 5x7s, I'm sure. I don't know about 8x10, it might bend. But another thing he was mentioning on his website is you can cut, when you have your film cut and you're scanning, instead of not knowing where to put it, you can just kind of put it on the little film rack and you can scan and blow and clean. And I thought that was pretty interesting because I always, you know, never really know. Yeah, I put it back into the sleeve, but sometimes you just want to check the ones that you want to scan, maybe a few frames out of a whole roll. So that's a very nice thing, and it's not too expensive. It's 3D printed, has little handles, you can move it around. So if you're one of those, you know, you might want to check it out. Another of the big news is that Kodak Rochester has announced that through Kodak Alaris, they're trying to source E6 chemistry. It's still super vague. There's no other information. But as far as I know, Kodak started a special team task force for the ECN2. Maybe they're starting some sort of spin-off too for the E6 chemistry, considering that Ektachrome has become a very important comeback. And there's going to be a 120 in large format Ektachrome, and yeah, we're going to need E6 just in case of supplies run low from Tetanol and other players in the game. Fuji has been mentioned to be dropping their E6 lines, so at least the chemistry, so we'll see. But Kodak is stepping in, but still it's just a very slight hint. Once again, I want to just mention that thank you to everyone that's been helping on Patreon. We have a WhatsApp group, which is extremely fun. I actually spend half the time of my day chatting on that Patreon group. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. As always, you have the email. You can send the information below. See you guys in the next one.